welcome everybody. It is great to be back with another one of our full package webinar series. Webinars here, we have Kay and Brie, two of our great friends from Title Insurance Consultants, joining us today. As a reminder, these are all recorded, so if you are multitasking, please know that you'll get a recording after this so you can listen to it. And if you're listening to the recording, we'll make sure that you've got links in the descriptions to Brie and Kay's website and to their emails and everything else. So without that, I'm very excited. Heather and I joked that for this particular webinar, we could very easily fill 300 hours of talking, not just 30 minutes. But we're excited to have two of my oldest friends in the industry, for sure Heather's, with us today to talk about all things title insurance industry, consulting, what your business really needs. So everybody's used to like the boring background and reading the resume. So for you two, why don't you just give us like 30 seconds each for your background and what brings you to this point today? And I'll force Kay to go first.
Oh, dang it, Wayne. I was hoping Brie would go first. 30 years in title. Been consulting since 2015. Living the dream every day.
Nice. And Brie?
Pretty much exactly the same. So almost 25 years now in title, like everybody else fell into it. And I've been consulting since 15 as well.
Nice.
Got it. I saw what you did there, Brie.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
I figured that was, that way we mashed, right?
We'll do a contest for getting.
No, I mean, I guess we should both. I mean, Kay and I both have sat the seat start to finish in title. For those of you on the call that don't know us, we've worked every aspect of the business. Kay's done it from an underwriter side. I've done it from an agency side. So if there's a seat in title, we've done it. We're not newbies to this. It's not something new. It's not like we've only ever just done escrow or just done post or those kind of things. We play an attorney in every state except for Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, but we're happy to practice law in all 50 states. Just
Awesome. Can you guys talk about what the 3 big issues most title companies need help with?
Do we have to limit it to 3? Just kidding. We're both waiting to see who's going to go first. I think I'll start with the first one. I think the biggest one is really efficiency. People, they don't realize how many times they do the same thing over and over again, or multiple people do the same thing, I guess is a better way to say it, on a file. So efficiency is definitely a big one.
I would say technology and the production software is another one. It's probably the biggest opportunity for improvement that we see in every agency we go into.
Yep. And number 3, I'd say, is probably being so busy on the day-to-day working, in the business that you can't work on it, that you don't have time to stop and train or, see what new products are out there. Are there other integrations that you can do to your software? Can you update your software? So, really finding the time to fix the efficiencies and fix the software is hard.
Absolutely, Brie. That is definitely something that we hear from our partners quite often. They just don't have time to work on their own business. So definitely think that is a top 3 point there. If someone was to hire you guys, what would that process look like for them?
Well, it starts with a bottle of Tito's. No, just kidding.
Naturally.
Just kidding. We're all entitled, aren't we?
Right.
Yeah, no, typically for us, it depends because we do so many different things for our clients. It really depends on what you're looking for. Probably the 3 things that we do the most are on-site assessments that we'll go and meet with a client to really just get a feel and an in-depth look at their operation, what's going on, what production software are they using, what's going on with the employees. And we present a proposal with that at the end saying, these are the 3, 5, 15, things that we found that we would recommend changing. And we can help you with that if you want, or you can take the report and you can do the changes yourself. The next one is definitely the technology piece. People will call and be like, oh, we just implemented Qualia, or we just implemented Resware and we don't feel like we're using it right, or we need some more training. And, we'll come in and do all of that so we can help you optimize or implement software. So if you're looking at, switching from, maybe you're on RamQuest looking to go to Qualia, or you're on TSS looking to go to SoftPro, whatever it is, we can help you with that and help, make those decisions, make it easier for you and your employees. And then the last one, since Kay's being awfully quiet, is sort of just that hourly consultant. You need somebody, you're not sure what you don't know. So you just need somebody to ask, to have questions. You want a partner that you can call, at 2:00 in the afternoon and be like, oh my gosh, this person just asked me this. What do we do? Can we do that? Is that possible? I don't know. Is that something, or we're looking to expand into a different state? How can we do that? So what did I miss, Kay?
No, I think you're right. I think it kind of centers around how the person found us. We are sent referrals by underwriters. We're sent referrals by production softwares. We're sent referrals by vendors. So kind of depending, there's usually a pain point around why they've ended up with us. And it's our job to figure out what that pain point is, figure out the root cause of the pain point. And then, as Brie said, give them options, how to fix it. Here's what I would do if I was you.
It's funny that you talk about pain, because my next question talks about the medicine a little bit, but a lot of title companies have a lot of different pains. And I think many haven't ever even considered an outside consultant. They may have thought to ask underwriters, and they've had underwriting staff come in to do some strategic planning. They may have had someone locally do strategic planning, but a lot don't have people with title experience helping them to think through existing tools that they have, to know what's happening kind of broader in the industry that others are using with success, and things that are on the horizon that they should be thinking about. So what would you say to a company that's like, we don't have one specific problem? There are probably lots of, and maybe not even a problem, there are probably lots of challenges that could be helpful. Is there some sort of initial diagnosis that you guys do, some sort of audit to help them figure out, okay, yes, there are a million things you could work on, but these are kind of your top 2 or 3 that we could help with right now? How does that process work for folks that have never done anything like this?
So I think usually, Wayne, a lot of times what happens is we do get brought in around a particular piece of the process. But generally then what happens with both Brie and I is, once we get in, they realize, how our ideas work, that their people buy into what we say, that we know how to implement this stuff and actually make it work. We end up sticking around doing a lot more than the initial scope. And I think you're right. There's it's, what's the value in having a third party come in and take a look at this stuff? Well, it's really hard. One of the things that we find most often is that the manager, ownership, however it works, what they think is happening on a file level basis is generally not even maybe close to what's really happening at a file level basis. But you can't see that. You can't see the forest for the trees when you're in it. And so we come in, and the other thing that Brie and I are we're very proud of, that we have stayed agnostic when it comes to underwriters, production softwares, vendors, all of it. We have no skin in this game. So when an agent comes to me and says, what would you suggest for this? Everybody always says, well, what's the best software? Well, that depends. What is your plan? What are you doing now? What's your goals? If you're, a one state operation with a few offices and you got good market share and you just want to keep doing what you're doing, I'm not going to suggest the same thing for you that I would to somebody that wants to grow to 50 states and wants to add branches and wants to do all these things. The answer is not the same for both situations. So we try and stay agnostic so that when an agent asks our opinion, they're getting our honest opinion.
Yeah, usually.
And you've worked, part of being agnostic. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, part of the diagnosis for us is really getting in there and seeing what's going on. And because we have sat the seat and worked the business, we don't need somebody to explain to us like, well, this is a refinance, so I'm going to order a 2-owner chain on this one, and I'm ordering on this purchase transaction a full 6. We know all of that. We understand all of that. So we aren't trying to learn the business, at the same time that we're trying to diagnose what's wrong. So we know what you do. We understand why you're doing it. We just want to see the way in which you're processing it, the way in which you're using your software. And then we can say like, here are 15 things. These are the top 5 that we think are going to make the biggest impacts to start with. But this is everything that we'd recommend.
And this is good for companies of any shape and size, right? Like they don't have to be, I know, Kay, you just said, if you're kind of focused on, I always talk about with our partners, that growth mindset versus maintenance. It really doesn't even matter that whether you've got 3 employees or 3,000, these are conversations and processes that you guys can go through with them, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's one question that we always get is, what's your target size agency? And it literally, we have worked with one-man show, one-man, one-office shows to, business lines and an underwriter with 4,000 people. I mean, we've done it all. So there really isn't, what's our sweet spot. There's not, I don't know that we've found anything yet that we haven't been able to help.
Yeah. Yeah. Our big thing is if you're doing title, you're our client. That's our perfect person.
Well, I would agree. I think that there are lots of companies that need help and ask questions like this all the time. And especially with the turn in the economy, I'm still not willing to call it a downturn, the turn that things have taken for a lot of our title companies. They're trying to figure out, how do I get more efficient? How do I be leaner? Because, not everybody thinks this is going to last for a super long time. And so maybe they don't need to do the same type of measures that they did 10 years ago or 12 years ago. And so I think one of the things that I wanted to ask, this is where the medicine piece comes back in, is, some companies are happy to ask for your opinion. They want a game plan and everything. How do you handle the companies that want help, but then once you give them the medicine, they're not sure how to take it, or they'll tell you, my staff is never going to go for this, which always blows my mind. But, how do you help them through that part of it? Because that's a big piece too, is once you've identified the problem, working through the solution.
Again, we're waiting
pausing.
to see who's going
Again.
first. Go ahead. K's up.
Yeah, that, change management in this industry is wow. It's just wow. This industry is so incredibly resistant to it. And I just had this conversation this morning with somebody. Part of the way that we can generally get a higher level of buy-in, because we have sat every seat, and it takes your staff and your team about 13 seconds to figure that out. I remember one client one of my very first clients brought me into Mid-Atlantic, which is notoriously a tough market, sat me in a room full of attorneys and kind of sat back and wanted to see if they were going to eat me alive. And they didn't, because they could tell that fast that I had done their job, that I knew how to do their job, and that I'm not here to be ownership's mouthpiece. And I'm not here to tell the frontline staff that everything that they want is right and correct. I'm here to tell you what the actual picture looks like and how you can fix it, how we can fix it together. And if you need my help, great. And if you want to tackle it on your own, that's great too. We have plenty of clients that, I've got one back just recently that I hadn't worked on for a couple of years. And they're like, okay, now we're to this, and now we need your help again. Okay, let's go. So it kind of comes in all sort of shapes and sizes.
Yeah, I think for us, the biggest thing is, like Kay said, we've sat the seat. And so we talk to management and ownership the same way we talk to the end line people. And when we're looking at making changes to a company, we're not just looking at, okay, how is this going to impact management, or how is this going to impact the front line? We look at it across the board. What is it going to look like for your management staff? Are they going to get the transparency that they need and they're looking for to make sure things are going well? What's the end line staff going to be? Is this adding more clicks? Is this adding more work? Is this going to make their process more complicated? We want them to be able to provide the customer service that, people come back for. And then the last piece is, what is your admin for your software or your IT company? What does that look like for them making all these changes? How's that going to impact them? So how can we work together to make it the least painful? I mean, it's going to hurt. Change always hurts. But we're here to help ease that. And sometimes too, for us, I think Kay would say as well, it's easier for, ownership to point and be like, yeah, but the consultant said we get to be the bad guy. And sometimes when you have, a bad guy that everybody can gang up on, it's makes it easier for the internal team. And we're happy to be that.
Obviously, we fully endorse you guys as help to these folks, but if they're like, look, money's tight, I just don't know that now's the right time, what's something small that they could focus on their own, like as a partner to the industry in general, what's something under the hood they could be looking at on their own without having to actually deploy a consultancy?
So I think there's two things that we talk about quite a bit. One of them is, a very base measure. How many times are you touching a file? How many people do you have reviewing the contract? Because they're not putting the information in the system at the initial, or you don't trust the first person to do it. So you have 3 more people do it behind them. So, and my clients tend to be repetitive and they all mimic back to me, but I'm like, that's a people problem. No process, no software can fix a people problem. And if you can't trust your people to do their work, then you have a people problem. So I think, but a very basic metric is how many times are they touching the file? And then Brie, you want to take the second one?
I'm hoping you were thinking reporting and analytics, which was the next one, because we say that's another one that we say a lot that title companies don't use. That, really knowing where your business is coming from, you can run these reports. I don't care what software system that you have. There are some that are really great at reporting and some that are really not so great, but all of them have the basic capability for you to find out where your business is coming from. So, understanding who is really bringing your business, you might be spending your time, trying to get business from somebody who only brings you 1 deal a year and is never going to bring you any more than that because they're affiliated elsewhere. But all of a sudden, this agent that you haven't been really paying attention to has brought you 13 deals this month. So reporting and analytics is really, really important. Plus, it helps you forecast and budget with your business to determine, okay, these are my really busy periods, so I'm going to need to be staffed and prepared for that. These are my slower times. And sometimes, those times may surprise you. We all sort of talk about how title, real estate itself dies off the first part of the year because it's cold and snowy and nobody wants to be out and about. And then, spring, summer market comes on and it's crazy. And then when we start, to slow down again, but a lot of people get really busy in October and November again as well. So, those are things to look at. And if you're not running analytics and running reports on your business, you don't know. And sometimes what you don't know can really hurt you.
For sure. Well, as two of my most opinionated friends in the industry, I didn't vet this question, so you're going to have to give it just a second before you answer it. But what's the most overrated thing a title company might be worried about right now? There's lots of shiny stuff, especially in the last 2 years with how much technology people have had to adapt and all of that. There's all kinds of stuff for them to obsess over. So what's something that maybe they think they should be doing, but maybe isn't all it's cracked up to be?
So I'll sort of say technology as a whole. I think it's great, but also, one thing that I tell all of our clients is that we all sell the same service, right? As a title company, regardless of where I am, I'm selling the same service as the other ones. So the thing that's most important for you to focus on is that customer service and customer experience. And sometimes technology isn't always the way to go. Title is very jurisdictional. And some people really like a personal handheld touch, and others are like, oh my God, you have a portal? That's great. Let me get into it. So just because it's out there, technology doesn't necessarily mean it's better. So don't always jump at the new shiny thing. You've got to really find out what your client base likes and focus on that.
And I think there's no quick fix. We hear it all the time. It's like, oh, but I got this. It's going to fix it. No, I haven't seen anything yet that's going to fix it. So I coming at it with that silver bullet approach, you're bound to be disappointed. It needs to be looked at holistically, and change takes time.
Yeah, I think the biggest piece of advice that we'd give anybody is, when you're going through this, be patient and have a little grace. Change is hard for everybody. So you got to be patient with yourself as an owner, manager. You've got to be patient with yourself as an employee because you're learning something new. You're doing something differently than you've done. You've got all this muscle memory that you know exactly which button to click in your software, or what step came next. And now you've got a new process or you've got a new software. Everybody needs to be patient with themselves a little bit and remember it is change. It's going to be different for a little bit, but also remember you're going to get there. Once you get used to the new process, once you get used to the new software, you'll gain that muscle memory back and you'll be just as fast as you were. So give yourself a little grace and a little patience.
The patience piece is something that people are struggling with right now, I think, because we hear something new every day. And so it's very reactionary, which I think most of the industry aren't really. They're not super reactionary to a lot of things that are happening in their business. But right now, because, the word on the street is different depending on the block, it's a lot harder. So I think that it's something for them to take a real minute right now when you've got, compared to the last 2.5 years, you've got time to breathe for a second. So just take a good, honest look at what's going on.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you make changes now while you have the time and are a little slower, it's usually easier for people to adopt so that by the time your busy season does come around again, they've built up that muscle memory. They are there. And so it's less stressful. Change during, July and August is always really hard because everybody's so busy. Not that you can't do it, but just, be mindful that it's going to be a little bit more painful and try and get some of those quick wins with the staff as fast as possible because it's going to be hard. It's not fun. Nobody likes it.
Right. And then I think we've got one last question from Heather here before she moves into the lightning round stuff at the end, the fun questions that everybody seems to like on these, but I'll let you go, Heather.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. I'm just curious if there's anything that you want people to know either about you guys or your company that we haven't touched base on today.
We both take a deep breath. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I would say for me, I think Kay and I really do look at our clients as partners, and we probably get a little too vested sometimes because we want you to succeed. I mean, for myself, I am definitely a title geek. I love the title insurance industry. I can geek out on it all day long, talk about it all the time. My husband hates it, just FYI. But I mean, I think, for us, we really do care. We become invested. A lot of our clients have actually turned into friends after the fact. So I think for us, we really care. We really want to make sure that, we value that relationship and really, really want you to do well.
I think the only other thing, Heather, that I'd like to point out, and we've actually, gotten clients because of this, but when you become partners with Brie and I, you get Brie and I. We have people that help us with some of the back end stuff, depending on, what it is, the software, those kinds of things. So we have support, but you get us. And that, for better or for worse, we're both very opinionated to Wayne's point, and neither of us hide those opinions very well. We're pretty forthcoming.
Yeah. If my mouth didn't say it, my face did.
But you do get us, and so and I know just based on feedback that's why some people have hired us.
No, for sure, that's a good point to make too, because there are so many companies out there where people are hiring them and they never talk to the people who did the sales pitch or that thought they were getting. So that's a really good point. Some people may love you, some people may hate you, but this is who you're getting. So that's a great point. Now for the fun stuff. I have about 10 questions here. Nothing that you need to think very hard about. I would like you both to answer the questions. So just so we're not talking over each other, I'm going to have Brie answer first and then Kay answer second, if that works for you guys.
Sure.
Okay. Since we gave it to Kay first, I figured Kay will help you out in this situation here. Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to talk to animals?
I'm going animals all the way.
100%.
Perfect. Easy enough. How long does it take you to get ready?
Half an hour, 45 minutes. Do I have to do the poodle or am I letting the poodle alone?
That's what I was just going to say. Do I have to be on camera or not? Because it's very dependent. But yeah, probably about 30 minutes.
Perfect. Invisibility or super strength?
Invisibility.
Yeah.
What's your favorite junk food?
Do I have to pick one?
Pick one favorite.
I'm going to go ice cream. I could eat ice cream 24/7 with no pause. So Kay's going to say the same thing now, right?
Sounds like
I'm not even allowed to have it in the house.
Yeah.
Not bad, huh? That's how my husband is. Have you ever worn socks with sandals?
No.
No.
Guys, you act like it's such a big deal. I've definitely worn socks with sandals.
I think the socks and Birkenstocks thing has like totally come back. And I think Mark Zuckerberg really tried while he was in college with the slides and socks, but I'm just not feeling it.
Well, I've done it multiple times in my life. Is double dipping at a party ever acceptable?
No.
What's dinner tonight for you guys?
What's what? You were breaking up on that one.
I'm sorry. What is for dinner tonight?
Oh, dinner tonight is whatever is written on the calendar, which I think tonight it's steaks and asparagus.
Yeah, it's lasagna here.
Man, I'm coming to your guys' houses. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at wiffle ball?
Oh, 0.
Okay, I'll buck the trend. I'll say a 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, big fat 0. Wiffle ball and I are not friends.
Say good day, mate, in an Australian accent.
Good day, mate.
I don't do accents.
You gotta give me an attempt. Brie didn't even hesitate.
Buenos dias? I don't know.
Oh man.
Hey, we're definitely calling you out later on that one because you're not
All right.
participating. If Kanye West and Kim Kardashian were both drowning and you could only save one, who would it be?
Myself. Can I say I'm saving myself? Because I have a feeling they'd pull me down with them. So I'm saving myself.
Can I ask a dumb question? Who the heck is Tanya West?
Kanye West.
Kanye West. Oh, I'm like, what? Who are you talking about? Oh, Lord.
Best moment of my whole week.
Sorry.
And it's only Tuesday.
Who's Tanya West? All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Heather. The lightning round questions are always a good way to end, to show the human side of some of our partners and friends in the industry. So thank you guys so much. We'll put the website for title insurance consultants in the notes for this webinar, and when we send it around on social and email later on. We'll also include Kay and Brie's email addresses so you can get in touch with them if you want to. We really appreciate both of you participating in our quick series of the full package webinars, and we'll talk to you soon. We'll see it all to one, right?
Yes, we'll be there.
Yes,
So,
you will.
and thanks to you and Heather for putting this on. We really appreciate the opportunity to chat and talk with you guys. But I think this is a great service that you guys are offering. And you guys know, we refer Bo Digital to everybody that we work with. We think you guys do a fabulous job. Can't say enough good things about you. So again, thanks for all that you guys do.
Yes, thank you. If you decide to hire them, make sure Kay says good day, mate, in an Australian accent.
Yeah, put it in the contract, folks.
Yeah.
All
right,
guys.
y'all. Take care. Have a good one. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.